Greetings, this is Brian Alexander, and welcome to my latest Trump and Academia Vlog Report. If you're new to this series, these videos are where I summarize what the Trump administration has been doing to higher education and how colleges and universities have responded. It's a little different from my usual video work, which focuses on the future of higher education and the future in general. I initially started doing these weekly, but things have developed at such a fast pace that I have to offer them more frequently. So, here are the latest developments since the last video, as of today, March 21st, 2025. Let's begin at the federal level. The Trump administration announced it was suspending $175 million in funding to the University of Pennsylvania due to that institution allegedly not sufficiently complying with new anti-trans policies. There will be more such cuts in response to other trans athletes' cases, according to a Fox News report. It's not clear at this time which federal agencies and departments are involved. The university says it hasn't, quote, received any official notification or any details, unquote, so far. Now, more in the news, President Trump issued an executive order trying to abolish the Department of Education. The order criticized the department and then called for it to be dismantled accordingly, quote, "The Secretary of Education shall, to the maximum extent appropriate and permitted by law, take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the Department of Education and return authority over education to the states and local communities while ensuring the effective and uninterrupted delivery of services, programs, and benefits on which Americans rely," unquote. Note the hedging and qualifications there, due to the fact that by law, the president cannot abolish the department. Instead, it takes an act of Congress to do so. Now, what the order may cause is moving some departmental functions to other federal units. As of this recording, it looks like Trump is moving some student loans to the Small Business Administration and also some other functions to the Health and Human Services unit. Also note that this move realizes one more Project 2025 action. There's a link in the show notes to our reading of that important document. The Trump administration is also developing a plan to cut the Environmental Protection Agency, including its research wing. The New York Times reported on documents it said Democratic officials examined. Quote, "The EPA's plan, which was presented to the White House officials on Friday for review, calls for dissolving the agency's largest department, the Office of Research and Development, and purging up to 75% of the people who work there," unquote. Now, this is also consistent with Project 2025, which called for ending the EPA's climate change work. Now, turning to the National Institutes of Health, Secretary Kennedy there is requesting researchers not work on mRNA vaccines. According to one account, quote, "National Institutes of Health officials have urged scientists to remove all references to mRNA vaccine technology from their grant applications," unquote. As per another, quote, "A scientist at a biomedical research center in Philadelphia wrote to our colleague in an email reviewed by KFF Health News that a project officer at NIH had flagged our pending grant as having an mRNA vaccine component. It's still unclear whether mRNA vaccine grants will be canceled," the scientist added, unquote. Furthermore, quote, "A senior official at the NIH's National Cancer Institute confirmed to KFF that NIH Acting Director Matthew Mamoli sent an email across the NIH instructing that any grants, contracts, or collaborations involving mRNA vaccines be reported up the chain to Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy's office and the White House," unquote. It's unclear if Kennedy will seek to restrict or punish academic, medical, and public health research, not to mention teaching, but this is a possibility we should consider. Now, agents of the Department of Homeland Security arrested a Georgetown postdoctoral fellow for deportation. Indian citizen Dr. Badar Khan Suri was working on a student visa at the School of Foreign Services Prince Alawid bin Talal Center for Muslim-Christian Understanding. And Assistant Secretary, Department of Homeland Security, said on X, formerly known as Twitter, that Suri was, quote, "actively spreading Hamas propaganda and promoting anti-Semitism on social media." Suri had close connections to a known or suspected terrorist who was a senior advisor to Hamas. The Secretary of State issued a determination on March 15, 2025, that Suri's activities and presence in the United States rendered him deportable under INA Section 237A4CI, unquote. Family connections may have played that role. According to Georgetown student newspaper, quote, "Khan Suri's wife, Mahfazi Saleh, is a first-year graduate student in the School of Foreign Services Center for Contemporary Arab Studies. Additionally, Saleh's father, Ahmad Youssef, served as a former Hamas official who remains close to its leaders," according to the New York Times. Meanwhile, U.S. Customs allegedly refused an unnamed French scientist entry to the U.S. because he had anti-Trump commentary on his phone. Now, turning to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, it is cutting subscriptions to many scientific journals, which makes it harder for USDA scientists to do their work. Now, while this unsubscribing might not have much impact on those journals, if this portends a larger wave of cancellations, it could signal a broader agenda for the government to cut subscriptions and perhaps inspire others to do the same. If this occurs at scale, it could certainly hurt those publishers, as Kent Anderson suggests at his The Geyser newsletter. Again, links to that in the show notes. Now, at the state level, several Texan legislators proposed bills to survey college faculty for bias. Some academics have spoken against those laws in hearings. Now, if we turn to cuts, within higher education, one response to Trump actions is to freeze or cut programs or operations. Some universities have announced hiring freezes, like the entire University of California system. Turning to DEI, a particular focus for this administration, campus anti-DEI moves have continued this week. One example comes from the University of California system, which ended requiring job applicants to share diversity statements. Elsewhere, academic publishers are concerned that purchases of materials, books, journals, subscriptions, articles about DEI topics will decline. Now, in terms of reactions, there is a lot of academic silence in response to the Trump administration's actions, as well as silence from academically adjacent people and enterprises. But there is also protest, resistance, and actions. There are also other responses across American society. A financial ratings agency, Moody's, just downgraded its outlook for American colleges and universities to negative in response to Trump administration actions. Elsewhere, some faculty and staff are making public statements in response. I already mentioned the Texas academic response. A friend this morning forwarded me an email from librarians at one state detailing the benefits IMLS provides that state, which will be lost if that agency's new leader cuts services. Meanwhile, 18 constitutional law scholars published an article criticizing Trump actions against Columbia University as illegally restricting free speech. Now, that same university rescinded degrees it previously granted to several students who protested Israeli actions last year. Now, Columbia is also negotiating with the Trump administration, trying to restore cut federal funding. Now, according to some press accounts, such as the Wall Street Journal and NBC, the university is close to yielding to Trump's demands, although discussions are still fluid. I have heard anecdotally from some others that this is quite the opposite, that the administration is resisting, but still the situation is unclear. Now, one other institution, Dartmouth College, retained a leading Republican lawyer to defend itself. Elsewhere, a coalition is planning a day of academic labor action on April 17th. There's a link to that and all these other stories in the show notes. There are also some more international responses. We've previously noted one French university trying to recruit some American scientists. Right now, according to the journal Science, quote, universities around the world are seeing an uptick in applications from U.S.-based researchers who face an uncertain climate under President Donald Trump's administration. And some countries and their institutions are already looking to use the opportunity to attract new talent and reverse the steady migration of scientists to the U.S. in recent decades. There are also cases of student support for Trump. A Brown University student, inspired by Doge, analyzed that institution's faculty and staff, emailed them all to ask them to justify their work, and then published a website documenting this. To summarize, the Trump administration is continuing to go after higher education through multiple government offices and in many ways, from funding cuts to deportations and extraordinary interference in one university's autonomy. Members of the academic community are feeling impacts across the nation, from faculty, staff, students, and scholarly publishers. Some are speaking out against the administration. Columbia University remains a flashpoint, perhaps a test case for the new government to see how far it can go, how much punishment it can mete out. I hope this video summary has been of use to you. Please share your thoughts, additions, and other reactions in the comment box below. If you don't feel that you can comment publicly, please reach out to me directly through the contact link at the end of today's show notes. This is a rough, dark time. It seems likely to get worse. Please take care, everyone.